What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the special edition of the Round Ball Roundup presented to you by the Sunbelt Syndicate. Yours truly, myself and TJ Corman, brought to you as always as part of collegefootballdogs.com, football website, basketball show, right? We're going to do it. We're going to do it that way today. Part of the Dog TV network, sponsored by W Energy down below. TJ's currently blocking the sponsorship. That's okay. There's nothing we can do about it. But we are presented to you by W Energy. Use SB Syndicate at checkout. It's an affiliate link. Lets them know that we sent you over there. It's clean energy, without all the sugar, without the crash, without the jitters. I've tried it. It's delicious. They have a sour gummy bear flavor. I think it tastes more like sweet tarts, if you ask me. But anyway, let's get into tonight's show. A special guest joining us tonight. We've got rising star Jeremiah Henson, hailing from Clayton, North Carolina, a slash player who can play both the point and the shooting guard positions, the innate ability to pickpocket the ball right out of your hands and go the other direction for two or sometimes three. He is just completed his junior season with the Clayton Comets, advancing to the second round of the NCHSAA state playoffs, and also a former member of AAU squad No Guts, No Glory, now part of Team Curry. Welcome to the show, Jeremiah Henson.
How you doing?
That was a hell of an introduction, bro. By the way, I'm just throwing it out there. Like, it doesn't get much better than that.
I step my game up for our guest.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We're happy to have you and talk a little basketball with you tonight. First of all, did you have practice tonight, or were you training tonight?
No, I had a workout earlier with my trainer, Marcus Hodges.
Okay.
That was all I had today. That and I weightlifted during school.
Okay. That's a class that you take at school?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Is that something that you do with a lot of the guys on the team currently, or is that just something you want to do because it's kind of easy to fit it in with your schedule that way?
No, it's like a certain class with like certain basketball players and football players. So
okay. All right. TJ knows this man very well. Already here. Hello, y'all. He's a resident Texas State fan. So, Jeremiah, I don't know if Texas State is on the list of teams showing interest as of yet. They did just have one of their better players announce that he's hitting the transfer portal. So they are looking for some guys starting as soon as the next season. Let's get this up on screen and get this show rolling the right way. So there he is, Jeremiah Henson from Clayton, North Carolina, class of 2025. How many did you guys lose a lot of players, or I guess just lost? How many seniors did you have on the team this past season?
We only had two. We had Anthony Walters and Tyreek. Okay.
So you guys are going to have a pretty good squad coming back next year even again then, huh?
Yes, sir. We were all juniors, so we were all young. So I expect to have everyone back and then go for a chip.
Yeah, we don't have the transfer portal happening in high school basketball as of yet, right?
Yeah, no, it won't be that many transfers going on right now.
Yeah. Well, at least yet, right? I mean, apparently, I think – well, Jeremiah, maybe you can tell us. I think technically, legally, the state of North Carolina has approved NIL deals for high schoolers. Is that something you know of?
Yes, that is very true. I can definitely obtain an NIL deal. I'm open to anyone that's willing to give me one too.
Yeah, I was going to say, so whoever's watching tonight, if you got some sponsorships going on, maybe hit up Jeremiah.
There we go.
DMs are open.
There you go. We're going to share those at the end for everyone to make sure, and you can also look them up as we scroll through here as well. We got Yo Boy Cars, our resident Cajun fan, showing up as well from Twitter. Thanks for coming on and sharing a comment with us. But let's get into this, Jeremiah. So you are a point guard or shooting guard, 6'1", 180. I guess that's what was listed online. Is that still pretty accurate? Are you gaining weight rapidly here? Are you still growing?
I would say that's still accurate. I'm trying to gain weight, like put on some muscle, but from now that's very accurate.
Yeah. Is it a delicate balance to do both? Don't mess with the structure of your shot and everything else and still put on the weight, or is that not really a concern?
It's not really a concern. It just depends how, like, if I go weight lift and then after I need to go get some shots up so I don't lose my form and lose my rhythm. So I still stay consistent with my shot.
Nice. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, TJ, I don't know how much that messed with you when you were a player too, as well, former running back and then wide out and quarterback. I mean, did you kind of have to do that kind of, is that an athlete delicate balance for most sports really, or?
Well, I think it is more for basketball players that are volume shooters like Jeremiah. For me, I played shooting guard, but I was not a volume shooter. So my weightlifting didn't really get in. It wasn't impacted when I played basketball. Also, I was not a very integral part of our offense. I was a starter and I was a defensive specialist, and I could just rebound and jump high and run fast. So that was my deal. But no, it is specific to basketball though, because like I said, like Jeremiah said, if you constantly bulking, constantly lifting weights, doing upper body, and those kinds of things, it does take away from the flexibility of the jump shot, especially when shoulder raised, that whole deal, keeping your elbow tight and tucked. Because I know with me, my frame, my chest is wide, so my elbow has a tendency to go out on my guide hand, and keeping that elbow short or keeping that elbow in is something that basketball players should, so bulking can affect the jump shot for sure.
Yeah, it certainly makes a lot of sense. Look who it is, Jeremiah, live from the room next door.
You ever heard of that guy before?
Yeah, that's my inspiration right there.
There we go. I like to hear that.
You see what he said?
It's ridiculous.
TJ lifts houses. Yeah. Well, you gotta have something for those biceps that TJ's got. I'm struggling in that regard, but one day I'll try and catch up to TJ there. So let's get into this. TJ just talked about defensively, playing pretty well, but you led the team in steals per game at 1.5, and then a free throw percentage. Obviously, this is where the offensive side of things comes in, just a small aspect, but you led the entire team in free throw percentage this year. Is that something that you really hark on? Are you one of those guys who, after a practice, goes out there and shoots a whole bunch more free throws to kind of get into that rhythm and keep it going?
Yes, like we'll have hard, intense practices, and then like I had to shoot while tired. Like after we're conditioned, like I'm breathing hard after conditioning. I just need to focus on my shot. So whenever it happens during the game, whenever I get fouled, go to the line, I'm already in that predicament. I've already practiced on that. So it's just come natural.
Nice. Very nice. We've got Marvin Dickens, who helps out on the baseball show, which will be airing tomorrow for those of you interested in some Sunbelt baseball. But he is also a resident of Clayton, North Carolina. So shout out there to Clayton area of North Carolina. So let's keep rolling along here with some stats continued here. 20.6 minutes per game. I mean, you're on the floor a whole lot at that point. You want to talk about how much playtime you get? I mean, are you happy with it? Do you want to play more? Where are you at with the 20.6 minutes per game average?
I'm happy with it. I have no problem with playing 20 minutes. It just depends what I do in those 20 minutes. Do I take advantage of it? And I just do everything I can on the floor, going 110%, picking up 94 feet, knocking shots down from beyond the arc, just doing everything I can.
Nice.
That was going to be another one of my questions from a cardio standpoint. How does it affect you? Because I've been to, a couple of your games, obviously one this year, a few in the past, where you have picked up opposing teams' point guards or shooting guards 94 feet and then have to turn around and be a volume shooter and, sometimes occasionally take it off the dribble. How much of your conditioning do you do extra away from the team? And what does your off-season conditioning plan look like?
I usually run around the neighborhood a couple of times, and then I'll get shots up and then just continue that little process. So where in the game, I'm already ready. Yeah. And then I make sure I shoot while tired afterwards too.
Right. I was just going to ask, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whenever I get all tired after conditioning, I make sure I get some shots up to where I'm already ready during the game to pick up 94 feet and then turn around and make some shots.
I think you and TJ probably know well, because I know that on the football field, TJ used to do 100-yard sprints, right? Isn't that something you guys pride yourself on before the field starts?
110-yard sprints. They were not fun. We had to do what is it, 16 110s, and you had to run them all in less than 13 seconds.
You just why I don't play football. That's
Yeah, and it's a full out sprint because 100 yards in 10 seconds. That's a long way.
Yeah. Are there basketball drills like that, Jeremiah, or is that not something that they? I mean, I would assume that the shorter stuff where you have to go even faster is probably just going to wear you out. It's not necessarily going to be a thing you guys do on a regular basis. Does that hold true, or I don't know?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say 110-yard sprints, but like we do 17s. There's a thing called 17 where you touch each sideline 17 seconds under like a minute. And then we also do a thing called 22s where you go baseline to baseline twice under 22 seconds. So do a couple of those and then trying to go make some shots too. It's not easy.
No, imagine not.
Definitely not. Oh, so I told you I was going to ask you this aspect in this picture over here to the right. For those that are listening on the audio version later, you can go look this up. It looks like he's about to slam home a ball. And so I asked him if dunking is something that's rather easy for him or if it's kind of difficult to get up that high. So Jeremiah, take it away. I mean, you talked to us vertically challenged guys about how easy it is to dunk a basketball.
It's not hard. You just got to really elevate and work on your legs. That's really it. And when you go ahead.
When you're in the gym, like, are you doing a lot of specific workouts to helping that? Are you doing plyometric training, or do you do it all? I guess what's like a focus to kind of make sure you've got that vertical that you need to get up there.
Doing a lot of plyos. Plyos really help. Focuses on like your landing and how you take off. And I do squats, weighted squats, with quarter squats too. It just helps your explosiveness whenever you're jumping and stuff. So
Bulgarian split squats too, doing some of that stuff.
I hate those. I absolutely despise those. I do them regularly, but I hate them.
Yeah. They are not fun if you're doing them with the good amount of weight. But yeah, what's funny is I tried to get into plyometrics when it was first being. It seemed like, the superior athletes were well ahead of the game in this with Olympic training and pro sports guys. But when I was younger, it seemed like it was becoming more of the everyday person's involvement. And my dad tried to get me involved with plyometrics, and man, I'll be honest with you, some of that stuff just makes you feel silly. You skipping off of one leg and exploding, and it feels good and it becomes very natural after a while. But the first couple of practices of doing it, you're just like, what is this? It just seems silly. Right. But it does help. I mean, I can tell you, vertically challenged. I've never dunked a basketball, is why I said that. I've been close, but I've never put one home, and I've really not been all that close, I guess I should say. Like, I'm getting the ball like on the underside of the rim, not necessarily over. So yeah, I can only imagine that feeling is awesome when you can slam one, especially when it's contested. I'm sure you've had some of those where you're going up to the rim with somebody who's trying to block that thing and you just slam it in their face. There's probably no other feeling like that, right?
Yeah, it's very exciting during that moment. Like, it just a whole bunch of adrenaline rushes through your body afterwards.
Yeah, I don't know what that feels like. I've dunked in a game before, but never on anybody. Oh, okay. And it wasn't like a fast break dunk. I caught it off the rim. So, and it was only twice.
A dunk is a dunk. Really, that's how I look at it. A dunk is a dunk.
Oh, no, it counted. Listen, it goes down. I've dunked twice in my entire life playing high school basketball, and they both counted. And so I don't care who, you can't take that away from me. So it's mine.
I posterized my 5-year-old right over there on the basket underneath the door. So
and you
I know exactly what y'all are talking about.
You continue to do that. No free wins in the house.
He was trying to fake me out the other day, and I just swatted it away. I was like, oh, man, this is too easy.
I beat Brody today 10-1 in air hockey. He cried a little bit, but he got over it. Yeah, we don't get free wins in this house.
No, you got to earn them.
Exactly.
Oh, man. So Artie has a question. He says, what's the drill where you sprint a quarter, a half, and then a 3-quart, and then full court? I mean, is that...
He's talking about suicide.
Just
when you run free throw line back, half court back, free throw line on the other side back, and full court.
is that more of a workout or is that more of a punishment if you guys do something wrong? It sounds more like a punishment.
It's not really I wouldn't say it's a punishment because it still helps at the end of the day with my conditioning. So I don't look at it that way. I look at it as I'm just getting better. So.
Nice.
Yeah, I hated that when I was back when I was playing, which is weird because we did them in football, but like we did them sideline to sideline. So not the 110 length, but it was hash back, other hash back, and then 53 and a third and back. So it's kind of the same thing, except just on the football field. So they suck.
Yeah, they are not the most fun. I mean, again, I never played to the level of what Jeremiah is currently playing at, and TJ has played at the collegiate level. But I definitely did my fair share of sports where we had to do a lot of sprint work. That's the only thing I am good at is running. So I guess on the aspect of running, do you have to have a healthy balance of sprint work and just long distance? I mean, you said you run around your neighborhood. Are you running 2 to 3 miles, but not at a strong pace because you're just trying to get the long-windedness aspect of it, and then you do like the sprint work on the court when you're training?
Yes, sir. I think whenever I'm sprinting around the neighborhood, I'll pace myself, really. It's like all about controlling your breath and your pace while running, because if you burn out too quick, then you're not going to be able to continue to keep going whenever we have to do some more stuff. So it's all about like controlling your breathing and stuff, like your pace. And then whenever I'm running around the neighborhood, I'll make sure to take the longest way. So on the court, when I'm doing my sprints, it's not hard to where like I'm already able to control my pace and my breath, and I'm able to make the time.
Nice.
So question as it relates to that though. So obviously everything you do from a workout standpoint transitions or translates to the basketball court, right?
Yes.
That said, how difficult is it, again, being a 3-and-D guy, being, mainly lockdown defense, that kind of thing, when you've got a shooting guard that you're playing against that predicates itself off running off screens, and I know you know all about this, like guys like Steph Curry who literally run around the entire court. Is it more fun to guard somebody like that who they set multiple screens in one play, or is it easier for somebody who's a high volume dribbler? Like, are you better on ball defender or are you a better trail defender?
I'm good at both, but I would prefer a on ball, like a volume that can be able to dribble the ball and like bring it up the court, because I'm not running everywhere whenever I'm on the floor. But that's also where all the conditioning comes from too.
Yeah.
So like if he's coming off screens from baseline, getting pinned down screens, off ball screens and stuff, then I just got to be conditioned enough to be able to work harder than him and make sure you don't get an open shot.
Makes sense.
Nice. I want to get into. I got another question, maybe from someone you know, but I want to talk to you about some AAU ball, and then I want to show some highlights as we keep talking further. So this, I had to throw this one up. I love the logo. I don't know if there's a significance behind the kind of crown pineapple look, but the colors are awesome. The jersey is cool. I know that you recently are moved over to Team. Is it Team Curry? Is that the name?
Yeah, Team Curry.
Okay. Well, now No Guts, No Glory. Glory is the team we're looking at here. That's a pretty cool name. Is this? And I saw it just really got established in 2019. Were you one of the first players to kind of jump onto this circuit of AAU ball for these guys?
No, it was maybe 2 or 3 years afterwards when my freshman season started, my freshman summer started. I jumped on, and my dad took me there, and he was just like showing me. And then shout out to Coach Q, by the way. He was the creator of that, and he brought me to Team Curry with him. So
okay, very nice. Very nice. Yeah, you got to feel good when the coach wants you to move with him to a new team. So that's got to be something that feels good about that. But yeah, I wanted to shout out the jersey, man. The colors are sharp. This picture probably that you're seeing on screen for those watching probably doesn't do it justice, but the colors pop nice. And I always appreciate a good colored jersey or logo. And in this sense, they got both. But the jersey just says No Guts, No Glory. And then I got the logo on screen for those that are watching that part. I love it. The significance of it, I'm not sure of, but it looks cool. Yeah, if there was a t-shirt, I would buy it. especially if it had Henson on the back of it. I'll wear it proudly for you.
I actually have a question as it relates to AAU basketball. So back in my day, because I'm old as hell, we didn't do a whole lot of AAU stuff, like a whole lot of travel ball. And so for me, it was my team, East Carteret, and it was really always just us. How is that different now? Like, are you friends with a lot of the high school players that you go against because of AAU? Because I know a lot of these guys, when they get to college, it's real friendly on the basketball court, right? Like everybody kind of knows each other. They're hugging during the game. I didn't grow up like that. Like I grew up like you are the enemy. So how much of that affects the way that you probably not affect the way that you play, but how much of that has an influence on, what your day-to-day looks like or what your end game looks like when you guarding some of these guys that you've either played with in AAU or against?
It's since I've played with them during the high school season, it's easy to know what they're trying to do. Right. But during AAU, it's a whole different thing than high school. Like when the 5-on-5 is all organized during high school season, during AAU, everyone's just trying to like show off their abilities, show off what they can do to other coaches. So whenever I'm like seeing another player, it's just straight smoke, honestly.
Right.
I'm not. It's best man wins, really, because I don't like losing. So I'm not a fan of it. So I'm not gonna lose whenever I'm playing them. That's
fair. I like it.
Nice. Yeah.
AAU, I just know that AAU makes a lot of these guys like way more friendly than we used to be back in the day. Like we used to have our guys who we played with, and that was it. And then it wasn't a whole lot of hugging and shaking hands and all that on the court. Like we were cordial and respectful of the team, but I'm not helping you up. Like I'm not hugging. We're not doing any of that.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's smoke the whole game.
Oh man! So I wanted one quick question while we're kind of watching this play out with some of the AAU highlights from No Guts, No Glory on screen now. But I got to ask because I've always wondered this, right? Most times when you're playing a sport like, for instance, soccer, it's always outside, it's always green grass, it's always some form of stands on the sidelines. To me, the difference between basketball in the AAU form and what you see in high school is vastly different. And I want to ask you what it feels like to play in a game, what we saw previously with these screens down, where a lot of people have to sit right beside the court or stand to really see well. And then you go into like a high school gymnasium where you've got stands and it feels more like a true big game atmosphere. Is there a big difference to you when you're out there playing like that? Or is that not something that really factors into how you play the game?
No, whenever I'm playing, I just zone everything out. Like I'm not focused on the crowd at all. Even during AAU, I'm focused on winning because that's the main objective, honestly, at the end of the day.
So you don't feel like it affects like your mental when you're at the free throw line or anything, like just like not having something going on, good or bad in the background with people, waving their hands or something like that?
No, during this past season, they usually like to start yelling stuff and they like to chat, but like it just whenever you zoning out and you're like really focused during the game and locked in, it doesn't really bother you.
Gotcha. Nice. Well, that makes sense about why you are so good at the game of basketball then, because I feel like for me, I'd be very affected by like, oh man, there's nobody really here. I don't have to go as hard or I'm not as into it. So it's awesome to hear that. And that's why you perform at a high level is because those things don't matter to you, which is, again, it's great for someone like me who's like, I got to have a crowd to perform. I don't know. Not that I perform on the basketball court ever, but if I could, that's what I'm thinking of mentally going into that. So your dad has a question. What do you want to accomplish next year for your senior? It's a great question. I had something similar, but this is a better way to word it. So what are you looking forward to going into your senior year?
Playing with the same players, playing with the same type of guys, and trying to get me a ring. I'm trying to get the state next year.
Yeah, run it back. Absolutely.
Nice. Yeah. So speaking of that, Clayton, who's your guys' big rival when it comes to high school basketball?
Before I got to Clayton, it was Clayton versus Cleveland. That was their big rival. But since I've gotten here, Cleveland has been able to mess with us. So I don't know if we got a big rival except for maybe Garner. I was
going to say probably Garner. I've been to both the Garner games and it is lit.
Okay.
Those Garner games, they go crazy.
I would say Garner is like a real like team that's really gonna make us run for it. So
Okay. Are they built similarly as far as like the roster? They got like some big guy that your team necessarily doesn't have or something? I mean, was it the comparison between the two programs?
I would say they don't really have big guys. It's just more that transition points, like getting back on defense. Like if we score, they're taking it out and going immediately. So that's how like made the game all close because they were running transition when we weren't back and get like and one layups and stuff like that, open threes. So, but we have the advantage by using our big guys to the size. So like our size compared to theirs, we're just gonna win. Just gonna win that.
Nice. Artie was watching intently. I can tell because he says great 3-point shooting and strong drives toward the basket. Yeah, as far as what I saw, and again, I'm no basketball savant or expert, but what I really liked was the great defensive effort. You don't see a lot of kids playing a whole lot of defense, right? It's just plain and simple. Basketball has become a very it's like football. TJ can probably agree with me on this. Football has become a very offensively minded game, right? Like 100%. You have to score points. That's how you win games. So defense gets like pushed back a little bit. But I was very impressed. Again, that's why I put the thing about the pickpocket in there, man. It looked like some guys should just be able to easily dribble up court and you're stealing the ball and going the other direction. So I was very impressed with that. The other thing that I noticed is eyes up, vision was good. You were looking for your teammates. You were finding your teammates. You were getting open off the ball. So I was impressed with your vision on the court as well. You weren't head down, I'm going to take this to the hoop, I don't care who's open type of thing. So again, those are kind of simplistic views from what I saw. But when I was watching all your highlights, not only that one there, but there's multiples for those of you who are interested in seeing more of him on YouTube, and there's some on Twitter as well. I think mostly they're from AAU, but there are some clips that include stuff from Clayton, the high school team as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got the Clayton highlights in my phone, and they very similar. Like I said, defense, like you talked about it a little bit earlier, with a lot of the young kids in today's game, everybody's predicated on how can I get to the cup, right? Like I want to score. I want to score because that's what makes headlines. But at the end of the day, the reality of it is if I can stop you from scoring, that's way more than giving my team 2 points. Because if I'm just going back and forth and we're just trading baskets, then at the end of the day, when it's going to come down to at the end of the game is who has the ball last. Whereas if I'm playing good quality defense, it doesn't get to that point, right? Obviously, there's always going to be close games. But if I can blow you out early and give my team an advantage and I only score 7 points, I don't care that I only score 7 points if I stop you from scoring 14, right? So at the end of the day, the defense is always what's going to matter. Obviously, highlights, we want to see dunks. We want to see, long distance threes, which you give us that anyway because you're just a good shooter. But the part of that I think people miss, and I want everybody that's listening to see, is that his game is more than just what he does with putting the ball in the basket. It's stopping your other team, your team's best guard, right, from getting to the hole, and that matters.
Yeah, because I have no problem picking up 94 feet on their best player.
Yeah, trust me, I've seen it in person, live and in color.
Yeah,
I may be a little bit biased too.
Yeah, look no further than what App State was able to accomplish this year. And speaking of App State, we'll jump into that in a second. But great question here by Artie. Again, he's stealing one of my good questions. But he notices the picture, and he wants to know, is Kobe your favorite player, and what did you like about him?
I like Kobe mentality. Like, whenever he's in the gym all the time. And that's exactly how I am. I'm in the gym day and night, work on everything, getting about 1,000 shots up each day, making sure that I'm staying consistent, working on my shot, working on handles, working on defense, conditioning. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm just working. And Kobe is, in fact, not my favorite player.
Okay.
LeBron. I'm a LeBron fan.
Okay, I was waiting.
I'm going wherever LeBron goes. Wherever LeBron goes, I'm going LeBron.
Yeah, because your daddy gets on my nerves with this Kobe stuff. And listen, I love Kobe. God rest his soul. I love him to death. But the mama is not touching the king, and it's not close.
That's what I'm saying. Where if LeBron goes to the Utah Jazz, you will see me with a Jazz jersey.
Bro, the difference between Kobe and LeBron is that it doesn't matter what team you put LeBron on. They're going to the playoffs. and they're going to go to the finals. Chris, I know you don't want to hear this, bro, but a 39-year-old LeBron James is taking the Lakers to the finals, or at least the conference finals. Kobe couldn't do that. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, did he think that was Kobe? No, that's me. That's me when I went to Word of God.
Okay, well, here's the cool part. I didn't know who it was either. But the fact that someone can look at that and think that's Kobe and that's you, that's pretty impressive.
That is
pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm a LeBron guy myself personally. I mean, I kind of grew up with LeBron, right? Like, he was going straight from high school to the pros and he started dominating right away. So I love that guy. I will be honest, I became more of a Kobe fan after his career was over and he did interviews and he talked about certain things, and you realize how hard this dude worked and what he did off the court. And like you said, the Mamba mentality, like that became such a thing that I think he will live on forever because of that, right? I mean, his playing days were one thing, but the mentality of what he did and how he did it, his thought process was just another level. Like what Tiger Woods did in golf, like Kobe did in basketball. To me, like Michael probably did it first, okay, but Kobe brought it into like the current age, the current day. Michael was doing it before anybody ever did it. Kobe did it to like a level where a lot of people were doing it like that, but Kobe even went a little further.
Yeah, I have this argument a lot with Jordan fans. I don't think Kobe is better than Jordan, and I don't want people to misplace what I'm saying, but Kobe is certainly more skilled than Jordan. Kobe is a very much more, he's a better shooter, better ball handler, better decision maker on the court than Jordan ever was. Jordan was a way better athlete than Kobe, but Kobe is a accelerated, more skilled. Kobe is probably the most skilled basketball player to have ever lived. Kyrie has the best handle to ever live, but Kobe is probably the most. If you put in a vacuum what his skill set is, what he's good at, he's really good at everything: dribbling, shooting, passing. I mean, obviously he's not going to out rebound you, or he's not going to jump over you, those kinds of things, which early in his career he could, ask Dwight Howard. But he made a career out of being more skilled, more talented, and more and harder working than most players. So I will give Kobe, I will give Kobe that. He's in my top 6 or 7 all time, but he's not LeBron or Jordan or Kareem for that matter.
And Neil's trying to make a point of it. What I had just said about Kobe, he's saying that all came from Jordan.
Right. He took Jordan's style and made it better, in my opinion.
That's what I'm trying to say as well. He brought it into the modern age. Like, you couldn't do what Jordan did the way he did it today. You had to evolve. And I feel like that's kind of hope. I think that's probably what you and I are trying to both say, TJ, is that the evolvement was there. I mean, it was evident. I mean, you don't walk away with that many championships without doing something different than everybody else.
Yeah, agreed.
That killer mentality. I think that's the big thing too. They both had that cutthroat. Yeah. They did anything they anything they needed to win, which guess who just said that near the start of the show? Oh, Jeremiah said that.
Yeah. That mama mentality, baby.
Yep.
Instinct.
Absolutely. So I want to go ahead and throw this up on stage. And Jeremiah, you shout out ones that aren't pictured, because we went with the list that was a little shorter. Again, I explained this to you, trying to get this big enough for people to read easily. So of the schools showing some interest, just to name a few off the start, we've got Mount Olive, Gardner-Webb, App State, NC Central, Bowl City, baby, High Point, Shaw, Penn State, and UNCW. So you've got some big-time schools, and then you've got a laundry list of others. I'll let you go ahead off the top if you want to name any of them, just while people are listening into this.
I know that those are like the main ones that have been showing like interest to me, sending me emails and stuff. I know that Lees McRae has been showing me some stuff too. Send me a few letters. Got that from them. And I got one from, I think, Gardner-Webb too. So it was
I pulled up the rest of the list while you're talking there too. Christopher Newport, Pfeiffer. You mentioned Lees McRae already. Atlantis University, which if you can tell me more about that one sounds really cool. SUNY Canton, which I believe is the State University of New York. That's what SUNY stands for. Denmark Tech. Again, tell me more about that one. And then the only other one not pictured here or hasn't been mentioned yet is Gettysburg University, which is obviously a really cool historic school up there in Pennsylvania, literally right off the battlefields of where Gettysburg actually took place. So, nice. Yeah. So a laundry list, literally, and I'm sure it'll be growing because I went on and obviously did some research before the show tonight, and there's all kinds of people talking about you becoming a rising star, about someone to watch out for. So I believe we're going to see even more schools added to this list. But tell me a little bit about one that caught my eye, that Atlantis University. Is that down like outside of the continental U.S., or I have no idea where that's at?
It's kind of far from here. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little bit far, but I do like it though. I've done some research on it. I do like their campus. I've seen some pictures and stuff. I do like it. It looks really nice.
Is it a beach? Like, is that? I mean, that's what I picture when I hear Atlantis. So I figure it's like a beach campus. Is that kind of what it is, or am I way off?
I wouldn't say way off, but like it's not really like a beach campus, but I'm sure that there's a beach close by.
Gotcha. Okay.
I wouldn't mind going to a beach campus.
Yeah. No, not at all. Atlantis University is in Minami.
I think he meant Miami.
Okay. I figured he did, but I was like, maybe that's outside of the U.S. on some small island thing.
The thing. If you go to Miami, we're going to Miami. You understand what I'm telling you? If you go to Atlantis University, Miami, damn it, we going to Miami.
I feel that.
So
yeah. Okay. So
just keep me in mind when you're making decisions. I prefer you be somewhere warm. That's all.
That's saying out the gate. He knows what's going on over there.
Absolutely.
An incredible university. It's an incredible technology university, similar to MIT. And yes, he does correct. He meant to say Miami. Okay, so that's cool. I learned something there. Yeah, Miami, not a bad place to end up. So definitely, you've got Penn State and App State in the cold, wintry, mountainous regions for when you play. And then
I will make the exception if you go to App State. I will make that exception.
I guess so. How early does the recruiting process start as far as like making visits to these places? I know you say that they've started with emails. Are there coaches or recruiters? I mean, I guess I don't know how they call them on staff. I guess they call them recruiters, right?
Scouts, right?
Scouts.
Okay. So are there guys that are already like calling and texting as well, or is that kind of become more of an off season, into your senior year kind of thing?
That's usually happening during the off season. Whenever you're building your portfolio during the off season, during AAU and stuff, that's what it shows. Like they'll start calling, texting, just showing interest. And whenever they are interested in you, and that's when that usually happens. During like the high school season, they don't really contact you unless like they're gonna offer you like that. So,
okay. Did you have guys on the team this year that got contracts? I guess it's kind of like a contract anyway. But get some offers while you guys were playing.
Yeah. My teammate Justice Mitchell, he got a few offers and stuff, and I know that my other teammate Andrew Grimes, he's committed to Liberty and stuff.
Okay.
The teammates that are going to High Point and walking on, so they're just trying to find something. And I'm trying to do the same thing. Wherever the opportunity shows, I'll go anywhere. It doesn't matter.
Very nice.
Dominic does not like Liberty, by the way.
No.
He's got personal beef with Liberty.
How about this? I'll hate it a little less if you go there, Jeremiah. Go ahead, throw that out there. But so I guess one thing I was going to mention that I didn't actually put up on screen, but I did read that you had a 3.9 GPA, and I know that obviously changes. I have no idea when that was posted, but essentially that shows that you're a very good student as well, which is probably another reason a lot of these schools are beginning to reach out and see what your interest may be in them. So one thing I wanted to start off with kind of at the beginning that I kind of didn't get to, how long have you been playing the game of basketball? Like, did both parents play and you just naturally came into it, or you start later in life, or how'd that go?
I started when I was like 6, 7 years old. My dad put me on the court, but it wasn't for me yet. So then I started with football, and then I came back to basketball, and he let me get shots up because he used to coach at Green Hope and used to teach me too. So whenever we go to like NC State camps, he let me get some shots up in between games whenever he coached, and then just let me hang out with the teammates. And I knew he played basketball, and I just wanted to be like him, really.
Not only did your dad play basketball, let's not get crazy now. His dad went to Gardner Magnet High School along with John Wall, and actually was the point guard ahead of John Wall his freshman year. So Chris was very, very, very good at basketball. So let's not undersell it. He comes from good stock, and also this whole family we're all athletes. But as far as the basketball goes, his dad, him, they have this on lock. Chris was a hell of a point guard and still is. Can handle the ball. I mean, both of us, we gained a little bit of weight in our midsection, but we can still do what we used to do a little bit, at least in spurts.
I really got my shot from him.
Very nice. So is he still in touch with John Wall? Have you met this guy?
I've met John Wall. I've been to a few John Wall camps, and my dad knows him. But like, that's really it to it. Nice. I'm sure my dad still has his contact information. So
he does.
Very cool. Yeah, that's very cool. But it makes sense that your dad, you come from a good stock like that, some of the natural ability, gets passed along, which is pretty cool to hear. So speaking of somebody of John Wall's stature as well, are there any current college stars or, current college stars that you've either played with or gone up against that you kind of talk about right off the top of your head?
At Word of God, my freshman year, I was playing with a couple of guys like Brandon Gardner. He goes to USC. Freddie DeLeon, he goes to Tennessee right now. And a few other guys that go to St. John's and other few big colleges. And I play with them, learn from them, just develop my game while being next to them and stuff like that. And it just really helped me part of my journey of becoming who I am now.
Very nice. Very nice. Oh, and Artie's telling me where Denmark Tech is. He's probably looking these up while we're doing it.
It sounds like it. Hey, listen, South Carolina is warm too. We can go to South Carolina. Wherever it's warm at is where I'm headed. I'm with you.
I won't lie. I did not know there was a Denmark, South Carolina. I started thinking that Jeremiah was going to get an offer to go to college overseas. I won't lie to you.
Hey, listen, if he goes to Denmark overseas, we're going to Denmark overseas.
There you go.
I'm going where the family's going. We in there.
Oh, man. So I guess another thing I want to know, calls, texts, are people, do they find you a lot on the social aspect? Like how much of you and your father and maybe your coach, like, are you guys involved with trying to push and put your stuff, highlights, stats, video clips all on socials to kind of help get you in front of as many scouts and recruiting and schools in general? Is that kind of like the aspect you really have to nail down this day and age with the recruiting process?
Absolutely, because social media has changed a lot. It's a whole new thing because anybody can see anything over social media. I always post on Twitter. Make sure I always post on Twitter at the right people to where it'll see the right eyes, to where it would want them to, oh, okay, so who's this? So it'll just put that thought out there, like basically like this little thing that my dad says, like whenever we're posting, we're putting our foot in the door, putting our name out there, and then when they get interested, we're putting both feet. And now we're walking in the room. Now we're showing them who we are, showing them how I play and what type of dog I am.
Nice. I love that. Definitely love that. Let's move on to, obviously, we are now in March Madness. So we've showed some schools that were interested in you. What about schools you're interested in? Not necessarily even to go, but like when you're watching the game, when you're just trying to enjoy the game off the court, a little bit of relaxation time. You're obviously in the hotbed of basketball here in the Triangle area of North Carolina. You got State, Duke, and UNC. I mean, you got a favorite between those three? Do you like somebody else? Do you just not really have a favorite? Tell us about that aspect of your basketball fandom.
Whenever I'm watching a game, I usually put on a game, and I will watch anyone, honestly, just to learn, because there's some parts in the game that will happen during my season, and me learning from them will automatically it'll just let me know what to do during that situation. I seen the NC State game beat UNC, but I'm not going to
calm down.
I've been rocking with NC State lately. NC State been doing their thing.
Yeah, they got them 2 guards. Boy, listen, and they can shoot. I'm talking about off the bounce, step back. I mean, they're lighting it up.
They're guards and they're big men. They're big men.
It's heavy.
He has nice.
Yeah, and he's got a nice little left hand too.
Yeah,
and he's going through Ramadan and he's not even eating.
Yeah,
fasting.
Any human that can play basketball at that level and not eat
is insane.
They just won.
Yeah,
and not only that, 5 days in a row, on top of like just once is enough, but 5 days in a row, this guy went out there and did it. I mean, just
imagine how much he eats at night though. Like as soon as 7:30 hits and the sun goes down, I would be eating everything around me.
Oh yeah.
That pregame meal would be stupid. That pregame meal would be loaded with carbs.
Yeah, I don't doubt he looks like he eats plenty of things other than fasting, right? I mean, like he's definitely eating the right stuff other times, so he's not hurting for it. But I mean, the amount of calories he burns is got to be crazy, right? Just going out there. Most of your stereotypical basketball players look something more like Jeremiah, not so much like him. But obviously it does him a lot of favors down low when you've got to battle in there and get on the board. I mean, he's got to fight for rebounds and put the ball in the basket as well.
Granddad, that's my granddad. I know. I saw that you just called me. I apologize. I can't answer the phone while we're in the middle of the show, but I'm glad you found it.
He looked real professional in that picture too.
Well, he's a real professional guy. Now he's not, because now he's trying to find something to do with his time. So what happens when you get retired?
Oh man! So before we get too far along, I do not want to forget this. This is a good time talking to Jeremiah. Here are his socials. He's got a Twitter and an Instagram. I guess the young kids they don't do Facebook anymore, right? Is that what happened?
No, Facebook is for what we call it, the old heads. The old people.
Like TJ and I.
Right. I'm not on Facebook.
Good. Don't be on Facebook.
We'll keep the old head status. I'll wear it proudly. And TJ probably too. But I started with MySpace, so I've come a long way in my social media.
Yeah, with the SpongeBob glitter in the back, SpongeBob, and you had to pick your own music. And see, you don't know nothing about that. You are entirely too young to know anything about MySpace. But that's when you can customize your whole page. So, an away message slap.
Oh yeah. Customize your page to the point where people immediately get on it and they're like, I'm getting off of this. I can't even page won't even load. You've got so many graphics, you've got music, you've got pictures.
Because we had dial-up. That's why. Oh man. We are old.
It's very, very true. So we talked about the collegiate game. We talked about some specific pro players. Do you have a pro team that you follow or like to watch a lot?
I watch anything, honestly. I know that Colin Sexton, I would like to watch him because of his defense and how hard he plays during the game. Darius Garland, he's a very crafty. He likes to handle the ball, so I like to watch him too whenever he's doing some moves. And back to LeBron. I love to watch LeBron.
Of course. You watch a lot of Buddy Hield?
What'd you say?
Buddy Hield.
Yes, he can shoot.
Yes. I was just getting ready to ask you, because a lot of your jumpers, the elevation that you get, because your release point is very high. And I know you know this already. You know how you shoot. You know your workout. But whenever I watch you play basketball, and I was looking at it a lot on the highlights too, you're a very high. To be a volume shooter is one thing, but to be a volume jump shooter, you got to have legs for that. Yeah. And a lot of your jump shots remind me of Buddy Hield's because of how high his release point is and how high your elevation is out the ground. It's almost impossible to block a shot because you're already shooting at a 6'8" level.
Yeah.
You ever think about that while you're shooting?
whenever, like during the game, I'll try and get it off as quick as possible because I'm not the tallest person on the floor. And whenever someone's running at me, I can't let them block it. So
Sure.
get it off, work on getting it off quick as possible, and then jumping as high as I can, really, so I can really get my elevation up on my shot to where it goes in.
Gotcha.
Makes sense. Artie's beating us even worse. He's saying he played the Oregon Trail on a floppy disk and died of disease or dysentery.
Dysentery. I was just scared to say dysentery or diphtheria or whatever.
If he avoided spelling that word, I have no problem with that because I would not even.
I can't spell it either. As a matter of fact, I just took his word for it because I don't know how to spell that word.
Yeah. Oh man, Jeremiah doesn't know anything about black and white TVs and floppy disks.
No.
That was well
Regular
before his time.
Nintendos, Atari, Super Mario 1. None of that fits into.
I had a cassette tape until I was a senior in high school. Actually, even after that, I ran my iPod through a cassette tape player in my car.
Bro,
how I listened to
my
music.
CD. So my CD, I had a CD player that you hook in the tape to the car, and then you had to play your CD. But then you had to put the CD player on some towels, so wherever you went over a bump, it didn't skip. And then they made the CD players with the shock absorber. So
oh yeah.
So then that's how we was able to ride around and listen to music. And then you had to have a book. I had a literal book of CDs.
Oh yeah.
That you almost get in a car wreck when you're trying to change music. You don't know how good you got it.
I've heard of people doing that. Yeah. There it is.
There it is. Of course, Granddad knew the word.
He looked it up. There's no way.
Cassette tape, it's eaten. Fix it with a pencil. Yeah, you could even fix it with your finger if you had to, back in the day. You didn't even have a pencil. Again, that's what these kids don't have. They have mechanical pencils. They don't even know what a number 2 pencil is.
Yeah.
You still got to take. You guys still taking a bunch of tests where you got to fill in the bubbles all the way with a number 2 pencil and all that good stuff?
Whenever I take my finals, I usually do it on a computer now. It's not even like.
Of course you do.
See.
Usually my test is all like technology, really. I've never, unless we're in math. In math, I do some type of paper, but like we'll usually do it over a computer.
Are you doing Common Core or whatever that nonsense math is? Nonsense math? Are you doing that?
Like honors classes?
No, I'm talking about the nonsense math, the long way to do math. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's crazy to me.
Yes. We're at the cube stuff and square it, and then put it in like square roots. Yeah, it's a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I don't like it, bro. I've never used it. Granddad said he had an 8-track.
I never quite had an 8-track, but my parents had an 8-track that was still around when I was a kid.
Too,
yeah, I know of it, but I never personally had an 8-track. I was at least the cassette era, cassette tape era when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Here it says 2 + 2 is 8.
Right.
Oh man. All right. So we've covered all that. We've shared your socials. Let's take this off the screen here now. Again, March Madness coming up. I know obviously you've been in season, so you probably didn't even get to take in much college basketball, but you probably started to pick it up here now as everything was going with the conference tournaments and everything. Is there a team that you've liked when you've watched here recently, a team that you want to see go far or think will go far in the tournament?
I want to see NC State go, and I've also been watching Kentucky. Kentucky, their guard, Rob Dillingham.
Yeah.
Nice.
I followed Dillingham when he was in high school.
He's nice.
I saw the game with Dillingham. I saw it live on ESPN when Dillingham scored like 50-something in high school. I was like, yeah, he's going to be ridiculous.
He's nice.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah. I honestly so focused on Sun Belt basketball that I watched very little of other basketball this year, which is good for me. I mean, that's fine. I got to focus on a conference that obviously I care about, and maybe Jeremiah will too, depending on where he ends up for school. I bet you some Sun Belt teams will come calling because there's a lot of guys hitting the transfer portal. There's a lot of guys that are graduating. So it seems like what happened last year is kind of happening already again this year with the talent that was in the Sun Belt is either being, given opportunities or money or something to drag them away from their school that they're at currently. And obviously the stuff that's not affected by that, you just got guys graduating as well. So unfortunately, Sunbelt will have to greatly replenish a lot of talent going into next year. I think Marshall has a big roster turnover, which they had last year. And then we saw how that went this year, which was not well for them. One of the better teams in the conference all season last year failed to do much of anything this season and this time around. But hey, maybe you'll end up at a Sunbelt Conference school, and we'll be watching you day and night going into next season. But guys, I guess you guys have any closing thoughts before we wrap this up? It's a great talk. I really appreciate you coming on the show tonight, Jeremiah.
Thank you. I really appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just gonna say, man, I keep pressing. I'm gonna be at as many games as I can. With Brody, whenever he doesn't have a game, it's getting in the way. But no, man, I've been checking you out. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm your cousin, and I'm always gonna love you regardless, no matter what. But I do see your game. I see your development. Your father's done a hell of a job raising you. Shout out to you, Chris. I love you, man. I appreciate you, Jeremiah, for coming on, showing us some support. Guys, if you're watching the show, give him a like, give him a listen, go follow him. Check his highlights out. Coaches, if you're listening, give him a shout, man. I'm telling you, this kid, he's made of the right stuff. And I can tell you that personally because I know him personally. I know his father. I know the family he comes from. Our granddad is on here as well. We were raised by good stock. You're not just getting a basketball player. You're getting a whole person. And, coaches, if you're out there, if you're listening, understand what you're getting when you get Jeremiah Henson. You're getting more than a basketball player. You're getting a 3.9 GPA, and you're getting a damn good young man. So keep that in mind. Shout out.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't even want to say much more because that was such a great ending. So, TJ, thank you for sharing that. We do have a couple closing comments. Already saying best wishes, Jeremiah. No doubt you're going places.
Thank you.
I'd have to agree for that. Love for life.
Absolutely.
It's there. And, guys, check him out. He's going to be a hot commodity. Trust me. And I real quick, Jeremiah, how tall is Chris? How tall is your dad?
He's
5'6".
5'10".
Okay. So you're already tall now. I was going to say, if he's like 6'8" and you still got some growing to do, then that's another thing to just look at as you continue to get bigger, both weightlifting and height wise. So yeah, guys, definitely give Jeremiah a follow his journey because he's going to end up somewhere. He's going to be a star basketball player, but he's still got a senior year of high school left. So he's going to get some more offers along the way, and we are going to watch how he continues to develop. And Lorna's saying taller than his mom.
Hey, young Lynn, love you.
Hey, Grandma.
All right. Well, guys, that about wraps it up. Thank you for tuning in tonight. If you missed out or you only caught some of the show, it will be readily available via audio very soon after this finishes wrapping up, to be honest with you. But certainly by tomorrow morning, you'll be able to grab that everywhere. I'll put his socials on there as well, so you can continue to reference this episode if you want to go find his stuff. Again, thanks to collegefootballdogs.com and Dog TV, as well as W Energy down below, SB Syndicate at checkout. Thanks again for tuning in to this special edition of the Round Ball Roundup, and we will see you guys next time.